world went in there, and I believe they've moved to November 23rd. So, you know, I'm not sure whether we would have originally moved. It's a great story, though.
Talking about Mr. ESPN deal, there's big baby. We're not talking about
Big baby.
Listen,
that's an
listen,
ESPN interview.
Hold, listen. I'm a man. You're a man. I always respect what you do. Even though you bash me on camera, I still got love for you.
I've still got love for you.
I think you're a great businessman. But listen, man, I still want to come home. Listen,
We'll talk.
I mean, no, life stuff happens, man. And we're human beings, and we gotta grow. We gotta, you know, just do better. You know, be a better person. And taking the wrong information, doing something that wasn't needed to be done, or going the wrong direction, and happens in life. I came from nothing. And sometimes you make decisions that cost you, and it cost me a lot of money, and it cost me opportunity. But I feel like the position and everything that happened in my life at this point is for a reason, you know. And the main thing is being better, understanding and learning from my mistakes. I'm not gonna sit here and bash Eddie. I know Eddie was mad and things happen. I mean, we all human beings and we all make mistakes. You know what I mean? So, listen, on to bigger and better things. We'll figure out what's next. We don't know if ESPN is the move right now. We're under negotiations, but like I said, you know, I still love the zone. They treat me very well. Eddie treated me very well up to that point. But like I said, it's business. But sometimes relationships do cause you to think back and say, you know what, maybe this can work, and figure out what's next. But I have nothing bad to say about Eddie, Dylan, White, nobody, man. It's boxing. AJ, I wish you number luck. Come kick ass.
Still wants to fight you. Still wants
So
to
you
fight
make
you.
that fight between Dylan White and Big Baby? Would you take that fight?
You know, I mean, Dylan's got his stuff to sort out, you know. And again, I'll talk to Jarrell, not in front of you cameras, but that's one of the first times that I've heard him say mistakes, etc. And I think that's important to say it. I believe that he's got a good heart, but you can't ignore what happened, and that's another story. Mistakes, understand. You've got to hold your hands up and say, I done wrong, and that's it. Dylan White, he's got another issue to resolve. Right now, we're looking at Joshua Reese, and the only thing in the mind, like, you know, maybe if he wouldn't have, you know, not been able to fight, who knows what would have happened. Maybe Joshua would have beat him, maybe he would have beat Joshua, maybe Joshua would have won, and we wouldn't have to go to rematch someone. So, like, what happened is a crazy turn of events that maybe changed everybody's life. Changed his life, changed AJ's life, changed Andy Ruiz's life. So, you know, and we'll see if he can put it right December 7th. I think you're going to see a different AJ on December 7th. And he's going to have to beat Andy Ruiz. And, you know, he's going to make his moves, whether that's with ESPN or whoever. And, you know, I said to AJ, I mean, it's remarkable. I said, AJ was asked a question the other day, would you ever fight Big Baby again? He said, I'd love to fight Big Baby. It actually quite surprised me.
Really?
But yeah, because he was pumped for that fight. Really pumped for that fight. Really, really pumped for that fight. More pumped than I've ever seen him for a fight before. And when the pin was deflated from him, he had to fight Andy Ruiz, and he just, you know, not taking anything away from Andy, he was brilliant, but he didn't have the same spring in his step that he had when he wanted to fight this man.
I seen an interview a couple hours ago. Terrence Crawford said pay him the money and he'll be willing to fight Kell Brook in the UK. What's your reaction towards that?
Well, that's the top rank to pay that money. You know, he's their champion. He can't box anywhere else other than ESPN. But they're running out of money this side of the year. You know, they're telling everybody they've got to wait till next year. Jose Ramirez, another guy, just said recently, I was injured, but I can box in December, but I'm told they've got no dates. He's just won he's a unified world champion, and they can't give him a date. Terrence Crawford boxed in April. He's supposed to be pound for pound #1. He ain't got a date yet. They're talking about December. That's been out of the ring for, 8 or 9 months. So, like, it's not for me to give Terrence Crawford money, but I could pay Lomachenko 3 times what he's making at the moment to fight Devin Haney. They're not going to allow it to happen.
Correct.
Eddie, now tonight we saw Michael Hunter come out successful over Sergey Kuzmin. He mentioned the 7 December date in Saudi against Povetkin. Is there any talks? Has that been brought up?
Yeah, that's the fight we want to make for Saudi Arabia, Hunter Povetkin. He's kind of like the miracle man, Hunter. You know, he goes in there like a sort of like a blown up cruiserweight, because let's be honest, that's what he is. And he's beating all these big guys. I mean, you know, he didn't lose a round tonight, really, I didn't think, against Kuzmin, who's a good top 15 heavyweight. Made him look a bit average, really. You know what I mean? And, you know, he's beaten Bakoli, who's a very good fighter. He's beaten Ustinov as well. And I think he might be the favourite to beat Povetkin, to be honest with you. Like, he's undersized, but he's got a big heart and he's very clever. And he knows his way around the ring.
Big Baby, are you going to finally fight Joe Joyce and shut him up?
They ain't got the money.
Joyce ain't got,
They ain't got the
exactly,
money.
got no money, man. And we even know Frank Warren not to pay guys on time, so I don't have to kidnap the old man, you know.
Hey, baby, I've got to ask you, what's your thoughts on Eddie saying that AJ still wants to fight you?
That's a great fighter. You know what I mean? Fighters know where the great fights are. Plus, he has to come to America and prove himself. You know, they're kind of looking at him like a scallywag in America still. So he got to come over and fight one good American to make his name. And so Big Baby's still on top of that list. You know what I mean? So it's awesome to hear that come from him at the same time, but I still don't like him. I still want to punch him in the face. So hopefully it happens.
Bob responded to your comments the other day about the Fury fight, and he labelled you a failure, and you didn't know how to promote in America, and you can't take you seriously. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, just my thoughts on that are I've got 3 hours sleep before I fly to LA for a press conference in front of more people that is at his show tomorrow night. Bob Arum said that I'm an idiot because if you talk about someone too much, then you're just promoting them. Well, all he's done all week is talk about me. So I want to thank Bob Arum for the publicity this week. And you can't criticise Bob Arum, he's a legend. He's 87 years old. He's so out of touch with modern society, it's frightening. I mean, some of his speeches are Churchillian. You know, like the one the other day about the Mexican, I mean, it was, I don't know where he was going with it, but it was remarkable. But what young fan wants to hear that?
Nobody.
You know what I mean? So, look, Bob's Bob. He's two-faced sometimes. You know, he was up my backside all last week in London, saying I was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and he's been slagging me off all week. But it's boxing, isn't it? Don't take anything personally.
Tough love.
Hey,
Tough
Eddie,
love.
what's your thoughts on the lack of publicity for the Tyson Fury fight? That's just
I just think it's people just get bored, right? So he fought Wilder. If you look at the hype around Tyson Fury after the Wilder fight and look at the hype around him now, it's like, you know, it's a third of where it was. You get away with the Schwartz fight, but you don't get away with another one. You know, it's like even like AJ said to me, like, I never got these fights. Why didn't you give me these fights? You know what I mean? Like, look at me, I boxed after Martin, boxed Molina, boxed Brazil, boxed Klitschko, boxed Takam, boxed Parker, boxed Povetkin, boxed Ruiz, and now Ruiz again. All in a row. There was no like, all right, have a gimme fight along the way. So he's sort of saying to me, well, blimey, he's had Tom Schwartz, now he's got Otto Warling. Oh, yes, please. So ESPN have got to be looking at it going, what are we paying for here? There'll be no new subscribers tomorrow night. They've sold 2,000 tickets. They'll comp it out. You'll see the numbers being reported by the commission. It's not how you build the rematch. The rematch is still a huge fight, great fight as well. But it's not the way to build it. I understand the give me the free one, you know, but not give me 2 free ones and spend the whole year. That's his year. So Tyson Fury, the lineal champ, his 2019 has been Tom Schwartz and Otto Warling, and you still want to call him a lineal champion.
Eddie, is ESPN getting out of hand with that, with the lineal title, so-called, and then they get mad. But then they got mad with Crawford not being a champion in the PBC side.
Yeah, but they call it like lineal. I mean, the guy he retired from the sport. He failed a drugs test. He relinquished his belts, and then decided to. I mean, lineal. I understand lineage, or whatever it's fucking called, but like, I mean, no.
Eddie, we see that if you would have put on, or if Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua would have fought Tom Schwartz and Otto Warling, and you put those fights on, you guys would be absolutely getting murdered. Do you think that the reason?
Listen, I got murdered when we put the Andy Ruiz fight on.
Do you think it's Tyson Fury's backstory as to why he doesn't get as much criticism?
No, but no one. You have to understand the levels of interest and publicity between the two. Like in the UK, Anthony Joshua is like to the ceiling, and Tyson Fury his popularity's risen incredibly since the Wild fight, but they're not on the same level profile-wise. So you get away with it because of Bob's bluster, ESPN, you know, blah blah blah. But like people talk about ESPN, oh, this is going to change his profile. Like the profile's massive, the audience is massive. Well, if the audience is massive and the build-up shows are so incredible, why haven't they sold a ticket?
Eddie, well, based on your comments, you're saying that obviously the 2 Fury fights aren't as big since Wilder. What does that say about Wilder? Because if he's not able to pull the numbers, then he obviously needed Wilder to do so, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he does. No, he does. He does. He definitely does. I mean, there's very few fighters. AJ was one of them. Whether he's still one of them, you know, still a huge name. But he was a guy that could actually fight anyone. He didn't. and still sell out arenas, right? But Wilder has fought Brazil, who was his mandatory, and he's fighting Ortiz. That's not a bad year, you know, for a world heavyweight champion. Wilder and Ortiz. It's a little bit different than Schwartz and Wiley, you know. And I respect Tyson Fury. I think he's a great guy. I think he's got a great personality. I think he's great for the sport. I think he's very, very good. And I don't blame him. Like, any fighter with a team would take the most amount of money for the easiest fights. That's the promoters and the managers' jobs. The fighters have to be protected from fighting these crazy fights. So I don't blame his team. They've done a great job getting him loads of money for easy fights.
Eddie, what do you think about Derek Chisora's outburst? Is he going to remain on the card?
Yeah, of course he's remaining on the card.
Derek was disrespectful the way he came out?
You can tell him. I think you never know what Derek Chisora is going to do. But the thing is with that card is, right, from a boxing perspective, the main event is quite clear. It's a unification matchup, it's a Ring Magazine title, it's Regis Progress against Taylor. From a casual fan perspective, particularly in London, Derek Chisora is probably the main event. But our show is paired with the World Boxing Super Series, and because of certain TV deals in place, Progress Taylor really needs to be the main event. But Derek is co-main event, and I will probably have to buy him a new watch.
Eddie, if Chisora does pulls out, is Big Baby a possibility if you guys have your private conversation and things work out? Is he a possibility?
Well, Big Baby's very expensive. You know, this is like what they talk about. This is what they talk about Joe Joyce. You know, he's not gonna take Joe Joyce money to go to England and fight Joe Joyce.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I fight Chisora anywhere.
Chisora's a good fighter.
He's a good fighter. Knock his ass out. But like I said, listen, Eddie does know me pretty well when it comes to the business side, so you know how to get me to England, and I gladly knock his ass out.
Me or Chisora?
Nah.
I'm going to get a flight. Speak to him, right?
Any words on the Monte Carlo show?
Huh?
Monte Carlo show.
November 30th, we'll announce the card next week.